Good afternoon. The meeting of September 19th, 3 p.m. will continue. Before we start the meeting, I would like to see if Sean would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance of the flag. Please rise.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good.
And I should have addressed that to Lieutenant Randall. Okay, the first meeting, as you can tell, Chairperson Rob Solovich wasn't able to make it today. So if for any reason there is a tie in any vote, you have the right to come back next month, or if you would like at this time, you can hold over now. I will grant anyone a continuance that would want to continue it for next month. Is there anyone that wants a continuance? I see Attorney Cipolletta is here.
Madam Chair, good afternoon. James Cipolletta on behalf of Brothers Auto Body and Kenneth LaFauci. We would prefer, for a number of reasons, to go before the full board, and also we had requested a continuance for reasons set forth in my letter to the Commission.
Just curious, what is the reasons for the continuance specifically?
The reason is that we are in the process of making an application for transfer of the license, which is the subject of our being summoned here today. And it makes sense, in our view, to have the entire matter heard at the same time, because I think there will be similar or duplicate facts to be considered by the Commission, and would rather have it taken. It makes sense to have it taken as one matter, and as a corollary to that, we would prefer a full board.
May I ask at this point, I don't want to get into the hearing, but you can answer if you want or not. Is someone running the business at this time?
Someone's running the auto body business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want a continuance to the next scheduled meeting?
I think so. I think it just makes sense, notwithstanding the fact whether Chairman Solovich was here or not, my request still would have been put forward.
Well, I do feel, I've always felt that I would like to see all parties at the hearing at one time, so that if there are any questions between either party, I would like them answered, and they both have a chance to cross-examine each other should I have questions. So if my colleague, does my colleague have any other? Okay, that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, Mr. Cipolletta. So at this time, Mr. Cipolletta has asked for a continuance on Kenneth LaFauci's Brothers Auto. Is there anyone here that would be proposed to that continuance? There are no proponents? Is there anybody that, well, at this time, I will close this if there's nobody going to speak on LaFauci's auto.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, there is no, okay, then any opponents wishing to speak on this continuance? Seeing and hearing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Any commissioner wishing to make any comments?
So Attorney Cipolletta, who's representing the defendant, has asked for continuance. We understand, for several reasons. And one being we don't have a full board here, and I know the state troopers are here. I don't know the first names. And we thank you for attending, by the way. I know it is a time-consuming event to some of these. So, but given the current situation with only 2 board members and such an important issue, I really believe it makes sense to have all 3 board members. And Chairman Solovich, he kind of let us know yesterday that he couldn't attend for whatever reason. So it's just we wanted to address it today, but I believe not having 3 of us here, and if it turns into a, for, one against, then we'd have to come back anyway or table it or some form of that. So unfortunately, I think we're going to have to approve the continuance for next meeting, which is, I think, the third week of the month of October.
Commissioner LaCroy, is that in the form of a motion?
And I'll make a motion to approve a continuance for this specific case.
Okay, so the continuance will be for next month. Our next monthly meeting will be on October 17th. And we'll look forward to seeing Brothers Auto in attendance and all that are involved, so that if there are any questions, I really don't want to hold this case up any longer. So if everybody that has anything to do with the business at that time would show up, I also ask that the officers show up, and I will second that motion. So we'll see you again on October 17th.
Thank you, Madam Chair. All parties will be present at that time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll move on to, we're not going to go ahead with the approval of the minutes of August 15th. We will wait for a full board to approve it. On item number 1, it's the neighborhood developers. Is someone here to speak on that? Please state your name and address. This is an application for one-day common victual and entertainment license. The application is for a neighborhood development for special one-day license for common victular and entertainment said to be exercised at the municipal lot on Shirley Ave on Saturday, August 6, 2018, from 3 to 6. The event will be the 6th Annual Shirley Ave Cultural Festival.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members.
Your name, please.
Vicente Sanabria, 4 Garish Avenue, Chelsea, Mass., representing the neighborhood developers and the Revere Community Committee.
Okay, and can you just give us a little of the background of what you, I know this is the 6th year, if you
Yes.
could just give us a little information.
Yes, so this event has been organized by staff at the neighborhood developers, Bonnie Holt, who has gone to school full-time, and so I have taken over. And working with me are members of the Revere Community Committee, Dimple Rana, Jan, I forget your last name, Dumas, and Guadalupe Panameño. And so together we've been working over the last month and a half to make sure that everything is in place for the festival in terms of vendors and nonprofits that will have tables there. Trash pickup, DPW, DJ, and everything else that is needed to have a successful Shirley Avenue Cultural Festival.
Have you been in touch with the ward counselor? I know today's a Jewish holiday, I believe, so he's not present here today.
Yes, he has been part of the meetings.
He is?
Yes.
Okay. I know he's been involved with a couple of them, but he usually shows up with his input, but due to the holiday,
True.
I suppose he couldn't show up.
Yes.
Okay, I have no questions. Commissioner LaCroy, any questions?
No, there's no alcohol or that
No.
sort of entertainment or environment. So I encourage these type of festivals in a short term, short period, 3 hours, afternoon. I don't have any questions or concerns. I think you guys are doing a good thing, so I don't have any questions other than that statement.
Okay. Are there any opponents wishing to speak against this application? Hearing and seeing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Are there any proponents wishing to speak in favor of this applicant? Hearing and seeing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Is there a motion?
Sure. I'll make a motion to approve the one-day common victual license at the Shirley Ave location on the date of, October 6th, from 3 to 6 p.m.
Okay, and I'll second that motion.
Enjoy.
Good luck.
All right, thank you. And thank you, Maggie. another thing, that there is a rain date in case, so the rain date is October 13th.
Okay, I don't see this anywhere. Did you notify my office of a rain date?
No.
Do we need to amend this, or can they do it verbally?
Well,
Okay.
we can make a,
I'll make a adjustment to the motion.
oh, you want to make it,
Yeah, so I'll,
to include the rain date?
Yes.
yeah, so my motion is to approve the Saturday, October 6th, in the event of rain that day. The rain date is also approved on October 13th. That's the motion.
Okay, I'll second the motion. Good luck.
Thank you.
Let's hope it doesn't rain.
Yes.
Okay, item number 2 is Revere Beach Partnership. It's an application for a special one-day malt and wine license. I see we've got something here from DCR. Your name, please?
My name is Taylor King. I'm part of the executive director team for the Revere Beach Partnership, and the address is 150 Beach Street, Revere, Mass.
Okay. And can you just brief us on what you're planning to do?
Of course. So this is the 4th annual Pumpkin Dash 5K and Fall Festival. So what we're trying to do is enhance the Pumpkin Dash part of the day. And so basically what we're looking to do is keep something completely separate from the Fall Festival and create a beer garden. The beer garden will be closed off. We will have state police detail who is closing down the road for the actual 5K, and then we'll be transitioning to the beer garden afterwards. The only people allowed in the beer garden are the runners who are over the age of 21. They will be identified or ID'd at registration and will receive a wristband in order to get into the beer garden. Every runner is given 1 beer ticket, and they're given 1 beer. We actually, our vendor is going to be Lagunitas, who is bringing all the staff and the kegs for the beer garden. And so they are all tip certified and pour certified. And we will have state police there, as well as people checking wristbands in the enclosed tent. And it will be completely separate from the Fall Festival, as the Fall Festival is also part of a family fun and free event for the community.
Okay. And you've received permission from DCR?
We have, permitting all of those rules are followed.
Okay. We'll see if there are any opponents to this applicant. Hearing and seeing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Any proponents? Hearing and seeing none, I will close that side of the hearing. I think this is a great event for the beach, and I encourage events to come to the city. But I have to be honest with you, I was a little taken back by wanting to have a beer, well, it was originally beer and wine. I guess we've gone just down to the beer. But I just find, this is such a great event. This is a pumpkin patch for the kids to go pick a pumpkin. I don't understand. I just feel, what's the message we're giving out there? Every event has to have some kind of alcohol with it. So I have concerns about that.
Of course.
And you know, we just had a vigil on the beach of, unfortunately, we've lost a lot of young children in our city. It's a very, very sad vigil. And due to alcohol and drugs. And some wonderful people from wonderful homes make bad decisions. And I just feel at such a young age, do we really need to have beer at every event or alcohol at every event? This clearly is a pumpkin patch. One of, I think, the nicest things other than the sandcastles, that we have to bring alcohol into it. So I am very concerned about it, and I would like to hear my colleague what his views are on this. And, but again, there's a lot of lost souls out there, and a very, very sad situation. So I would like to hear from my colleague.
I actually have a little different perspective of the event. I think the event, I've been involved in the event a little bit when I was on the board at the Revere Beach Partnership the last 3 years. I'm no longer on the board, so I can speak. There's no conflict of interest anymore. That said, you know, I think to keep interest, sometimes you have to change things up. Yeah, and is there alcohol? Yeah, I mean, beer is beer. And I believe the people participating are probably, in most cases, 99% responsible people. We're not getting gangs. Gangs aren't going to run 5K unless they're running from the police. And I think the crowd, the atmosphere isn't a really significant issue if you have some beer, especially if you keep the wine out there. Beer is beer. They run. They burn some calories. They want to get. In this day and age, with the millennials and the runners and and all the different type of beers out there, and I don't consider it a major issue. To add beer into an event like this, it will bring more people to it. I think more people to hang around, and it is enclosed. So I'm kind of in support of it, even before the vote. So that's kind of where I stand. I just think of changing it up a little bit, maybe bringing some, additional, more people into the event, more donations, and it just gets bigger and bigger. So it's only 10 to 2. It's not like it's all day.
If I can also, the runners are allowed to be in the beer garden and of course of age. They're also only allowed one beer. So there'll be, no excessive drinking to that. And we are working to separate both the pumpkin patch part of the festival and the beer garden part on separate, like where the pavilion is on one separate side and the other separate side, so that it's almost like two separate events rather than one conjoined event, so that there's no blurring of the lines between obviously a family-friendly event and the beer garden. And with the support of Lagunitas, the beer garden is allowing us to bring in needed sponsor dollars to put on the fall festival because it is a free event. So we need those extra dollars to be able to put on all the activities for the kids and everything.
You had the art festival.
Yes.
Did you go ahead with the beer and wine license that day?
We actually did not. So after that liquor commission meeting, we spoke again with the committee, and the committee actually chose to not go forward with using that. After many conversations, they decided that they didn't want that portion of the event in the art festival. The Fall Festival / Pumpkin Dash Committee is made up of different board members on the board, and they want that part of it involved, just because a lot of people nowadays won't just run a 5K to run a 5K. They need that extra incentive, sort of.
Well, that's exactly what I'm talking about, So they didn't go along with that. So you're coming for this license. Do you have a board that has to vote on this? Did they vote in favor of having this beer at this?
They did for this event, yes.
They did?
Yes.
Because I've spoke with a few people who didn't seem that happy about it, It's always been known as the pumpkin patch.
Yes.
For the kids. So now it's the pumpkin patch, beer, runner.
I think there was some... I think there was some back and forth on the board, but ultimately the majority of the board voted to have a beer garden at the Pumpkin Dash 5K. I know there were some conversations of concern for sure.
Well, I must have got the concerned calls because some of your board members were not happy about it. And in the future, when you do come up, I would like to see that vote, that they did vote on it.
Yeah.
Because I know my colleagues voted last time for the art festival, and it was unanimous. I voted for it.
Yeah.
And then come to find out, the board members were surprised. They said, why would you vote for that? And they stopped it. So I don't want to be in that predicament again. I want to know that they have voted for it and they're in favor, because had I known they were not in favor, I would not have voted for that license.
Of course.
And so I'm back into this situation again. Obviously, the people I've heard from on your board are opposed. And I still have to say I'm very concerned about the children. We know what's happening in the city. I actually read today, and maybe Lieutenant Randall knows about it, they're actually going to, was it Markey, that's going to bring in every school, going to bring in people to talk about alcohol in our city. So, this is the first day it was front page. And here I am looking to give a license when to me, a pumpkin patch is a kid's time. So that's all I have to say at that time. I'd just like to know if there's any proponents wishing to speak in favor of this at this time? I see she's patiently waiting. We've been through this before, Mrs. McGuire.
Hi, Adrian McGuire, 114 Pearl Ave. So, being a resident of Riviera, I've been in front of the board about other issues about alcohol, stores opening, but I don't really think this is the same thing. Runners look for a beer at the end of their race. I know, it sounds odd, but they do. Years past, when I used to run road races, that's what we looked for. We have a really good track record of, like when we have our big event for Sandcastles, about our security and following all the rules. And we have served it before, only in an establishment, and it really doesn't work best for us. I'm in favor of it for this event, not just because I'm on the board, but I think one beer, we're not going to see people staggering on the beach. We are responsible. It almost is a little bit separate because they don't stay all day. And our fall festival runs later in the afternoon, and the road race starts earlier in the morning. By the time they get to the beer garden, it's still early in the morning.
But you have on the application, Mrs. McGuire, that starts at 10 a.m. They're going to start drinking beer at 10?
That's when the road race starts, so just for setup and everything for the liquor permit.
When are we actually going to serve? I hope it's not 10 in the morning.
Well, so the road race will go, the first runners will come in at about 10:30, and so the beer garden will be for about an hour after the first runners come in.
Okay.
And the fall festival goes until like 2, so
Right.
it's not like it's taking up the whole family event. I hope that you'll reconsider. Like I said, I'm not a drinker,
Well, I'm
but
never
I think that
surprised.
this is not, I know you're surprised because we
I'm
talk about it all the
surprised
time.
because you and I have butted heads
Absolutely.
many times when I've given out one-day licenses and
Absolutely, and not one-day licenses, I haven't been here. I've been here for alcohol establishments and liquor stores and variety stores. I don't think that this is quite the same thing.
no, it's not quite the same thing, but
Well,
I mean,
well, I think, Lieutenant Randall, it is going to be a controlled environment, correct? We'll have police detail there?
That's down on the beach, that would be the state police.
State
Yes.
police, yeah.
So we have state police down there.
So, again, I think I really,
I don't
might
think.
call it, I think we are making it a little bigger.
Well, I think we're going in the wrong direction. The direction is not that they have not run functions. Mrs. McGuire has been on the castle events for many years, never had a problem. I'm not looking at it as a problem. This is DCR. The only point I'm looking at is, do we need to mix children with adults and alcohol?
So let me ask you,
That's my
what is the
bottom line.
purpose of the alcohol? What is the underlying reason you're adding alcohol?
The runners wanted beer.
Well, I mean,
If you go to any road race, really, any 5K now, most of them serve them a beer, and runners look for it at the end. We're not doing anything that's really unusual.
What was the idea of, it was beer and wine, and why was DCR against the wine?
DCR wasn't against the wine. Originally, we were looking to have a beer garden that some of the other patrons could go in as well, and possibly sell one beer to other patrons who were not running. But we had discussions with DCR, and so we're not doing any selling of any beer. It will just be donated beer. Every runner gets one beer per runner. No other patrons are allowed in the beer garden, only runners of 21 plus who are participating. And I think going through it, our biggest purpose of adding this is to add some great marketing value for us so that we can continue to get sponsorships and bring in more revenue, not only for the partnership, but for the Fall Festival, so we can add other elements to the Fall Festival in years to come.
That's what I wanted to hear. That's the benefit.
Obviously, myself and my colleague have different views on this. I feel very bad. I wish this was a full board, because my instincts is beer around children. I think every family, whether it be an aunt, an uncle, or someone, has been affected by some kind of dependency, and I find it very sad. And the city, right now, I feel our city is getting a lot of help coming in to help we're finding a lot of the younger children are drinking a lot earlier, and it's sad. It's sad. And like I say, I wish you would read the paper this morning. I should have brought the article. And they are going to be putting everyone in the schools. So as much as I agree with my colleague, we're adults. If an adult wants to have a beer, that's fine. I like to have a glass of wine. That's fine. I'm just, like I say, mixing a kid's time and a great function. I know everybody does a great job. I go to all of them. I've never had a problem at one of the functions. But with the calls that I have gotten, I was very surprised. Just one more, Mrs. McGuire, are you a vote on this board also?
I am.
You are a voting vote? Okay. Because, like I say, the last time it was I felt very bad that I had given that license not getting all the facts. Okay, but you didn't go ahead with it anyway, so that was okay, you know. So I'm having a very, very hard time with this vote, and I do understand where you're coming from, so I'm going to, if we have no one else who would like to speak on this subject, I'll open it up to anyone in the room, and no one has anything to say. And it's DCR, so I can't refer to Lieutenant Randall. DCR will be taking over this, which I'm very surprised that they're allowing it. We went to them, I think, for something else, and we were denied. So it's pretty, I'm a little surprised they're even going along with this, because I was disappointed at the last refusal. So I'm going to open the floor again to my colleague and see if he has any motion, and just keeping in mind that this is a mixed children's adult function.
And, yeah, I mean, I do take into consideration, the children being there, but I don't think they'll be, obviously, they're not going to be inside the beer garden. That's, unless they sneak in. So, but I'm not really concerned about that. So I think it's almost like two separate events. You've got the children pumpkin patch run, and then you have a separate group of just runners that are going to go for a beer after. So other than, everything I've said thus far, I really don't foresee problems, especially you're going to have state troopers there, police in the area, and it's nowhere any any resemblance to the number of people at the Sandcastle event. So with all that said, I'm going to make a motion to approve the one-day common victual license for malt only, exercised on October 14th from 10 to 2 p.m. By the Revere Beach Partnership. So I am going to make a motion to approve the license.
If I may, also, it is going to be very similar. Like you said, it does seem like it's almost two separate events, which is exactly what we're going for. It is very similar to Sandcastles in the sense that the private VIP tent that is closed off, that only certain people can get into if they have a ticket. It will be exactly like that, where certain people, i.e. the runners, can get into it with their wristband. And then the rest of the event, like at Sandcastles, where you have families and kids everywhere viewing the Sandcastles, enjoying the vendors and the food trucks and everything. So it will be extremely similar to that.
Okay. You still haven't changed my mind, I have to be honest with you. I just am very strong on alcohol around children. That being said, unfortunately, we don't have a full board here. I would be voting opposed to this if it were a full board, but I'm going to reluctantly second his motion only because of your history. But I would hope in the future that this would not, where children are involved, there would not be one-day licenses together. Because I still feel that it's a kid's day. Give the kids the day. Let them enjoy the day. I mean, I don't think we have to rope off an area so the adults have to have a beer because they ran, I mean, I would be running for water if I ever did 5K, or maybe more than that. But, so I will reluctantly second the motion, and I feel bad I do have to do this because I spoke to many people who felt I shouldn't, but there's no more time for another meeting, and we don't have a full board. So I will be speaking to Mrs. McGuire at the function. I may take a walk down there and we'll see. I'm sure she'll keep everything under control, so I wish you luck.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that and your time.
Okay. We'll close that hearing. Okay, item number 3, Royal Food Enterprise, Inc. Is someone here from Royal Food? This is an application for a change of DBA.
Yes,
Okay, your name, please?
my name is Yusuf Yassin. I'm the general manager of Royal Foods.
Okay. Can you just give us a little background of what's taking place?
Sure. Royal Foods is it's a bakery cafe. We have multiple locations in Boston and.
Excuse me, can you speak up a little bit,
and
please?
Yes,
Thank you.
yes. So it's a bakery cafe. It will be a new establishment, and we proposed a name for the business, Juliet Bakery and Cafe, but we were not able to brand the name and find a social media and all of that. So we had to change the name, basically. So the business and everything will be the same except the DBA.
Okay, and this is presently opened?
We are about to open. We just finished all the
You're
inspections.
just finishing it?
Yes.
And we've got all the inspections here? They were, okay. No, they were up here before, yeah. They're not in here. Okay, have you been in touch with your ward councillor at all? Again, he's not here this morning. He has spoke to me about a couple of these issues coming up.
With the councillor?
Yes.
No.
Ira Novoselsky, have you
Ira.
spoke with him at all?
Not lately, but we were in touch throughout the construction and the build out, yes.
And you were, okay. Okay. So it's just an application for Food Enterprise, DBA, Juliet Bakery and Company. Let's see, do we have hours of operation on here? Any hours of operations on,
We're not changing.
right, but what are the hours of operation? We don't have them?
It will,
What hours have you been open, sir?
it will be 7 a.m. to 9 p.m.
But these are the hours you have now, there's no change in the hour?
No change in the hours, nothing except the DBA.
Okay, that's all I want to make sure, that there were no
Correct.
change in the previous hours, okay? So it'd be 7 to 9,
Yes.
okay.
There's no,
Okay.
there's no cordials or liquor? Like
No.
you-
No.
No.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Is there anybody wishing to speak in opposition of this applicant? Hearing and seeing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Are there any proponents wishing to speak in favor of this applicant? Hearing and seeing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Any commissioners wishing to speak?
No, I think it's pretty straightforward, a quick DBA change. I don't see any change in the operation. It's a cafe and bakery type of setup, so I'm going to make a motion to approve the change of DBA effective now, if approved
Okay.
by my colleague.
And there's been no seating change, the same seating, you said you did some work in there, there's,
Absolutely no change.
No
except
change
the
at
DBA.
all.
Yes.
okay, then I'll second the motion. That is unanimous, good luck.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I didn't have that one. Okay. Item number 4, Black Marble Motorcycle LLC, Boston Harley Davidson. Application for 10 special one-day malt wine, common victual and entertainment licenses. Okay, let's hear about these 10 licenses.
So, well, I'm Heather Vieira of 13 Jones Street in Everett, Massachusetts. We have 4 permits before you that will span from October until December. We have approximately 2 events each month, starting with, in October, the first event, all of them being indoors inside of our facilities, not in the parking lot like it's been this past summer. But we would like to serve dollar beers to our customers for these special events with a limit of 2. Starting with our breast cancer fundraiser in October, and our Halloween party in October as well. For November, we're doing a Black Friday tent event with our pre-owned motorcycles. I had it designated in the map that beer would be allowed outside of the facility, but we've actually changed our minds on that. The beer will stay inside of the building. We also have a Sit with Santa event in December, also a last-minute Christmas shopping event. And the beer's been used as an incentive to keep our customers in the store just a little bit longer, talking to associates, learning more about new product. And so we would like to continue that for the rest of the year.
Any proponents here wishing to speak in favor of this applicant? Any opponents wishing to speak? Hearing and seeing none, I'll open it to my colleague if he has any comments.
Just looking at the multiple events here, it looks, they've done a lot since they've been there with clean, good activities. And Lieutenant Randall, last I checked, there hasn't been any issues there.
No, we haven't had an issue
Okay.
at any event at their
Yeah.
location.
And I actually do appreciate you bundling all the events into one or two, I'd say. You've been here a couple of times this year. Hearings. So, I'm not going to comment on any individual one because they all sound like nice events, a lot of fun, from the Halloween party to the ugly sweater to the trivia night. So some good stuff you got, very creative. So I have nothing but good things to kind of endorse these events over there. And I do live in the area, so, but again, it increases the traffic over there for some of the restaurants and establishments, which helps their businesses. So it's been a good relationship between Harley and the city from day one, and I think this, will continue. But other than that, I have nothing else to say.
Yes, we like to keep our events friendly for families and people who ride motorcycles, as well as our local communities. We get the restaurants involved sometimes, like our new neighbors Easy Pie that have been open for this year, getting them involved in some of our events and, helping their business to flourish as well.
Okay, again, I have concerns.
Yes.
First of all, you're coming in for 10 licenses. These are one-day licenses. Do you have an idea of how many you've gotten this year?
I believe altogether it's approximately 34 when I tried to count them. No, it wasn't that much. It is under 30 because we did count it out.
There is a limit of 30 licenses. I did speak to the ABCC yesterday, and although there are 30, they were a little hesitant also, okay, about giving out 30. We have the brick and mortar liquor establishments. That's how they make their money. If I'm going to go spend $5 for a drink or go to Harley Davidson and spend $1, there's a big difference. I also see you've got Santa sit on Santa's lap. Again, you're going to be drawing children, and again, it's alcohol. I just have a hard time with events with alcohol and children going. They're going to see Santa, they're going to sit there. They're being driven there by their parents. They're leaving with their parents, okay? So, and 10 licenses, I'm concerned about the other liquor establishments. Actually, almost everything you have down here, okay, other than your sale event, other establishments are already having them. The ugly sweater contest, I know one's having a breast fundraiser. So, I want to be very careful I'm not cutting into these other people that pay for a full liquor license all year. They depend on these holidays. So you're going into Thanksgiving, you've got, it almost seems like you come up quarterly. So every quarter you come up and you put in for several more. You've got October 18th, 27th, November the 15th, 23rd, 24th, 25th. Then you've got December 8th, 13, 22. It's starting to become an event center to me. Every time I go by there, there's a new event, there's something else going on. And as Lieutenant Randall said, again, it's another well-run business. I think it's a great business, you've got good fundraisers, but on the other hand, you're not a liquor establishment. You're a retailer. And it just seems like 10 days that we're taking up, again, the holidays on our other establishments. So, you know, I have a hard time with this also, and I'm sure, you know, my colleague feels it's okay. I almost wish, again, you had waited for next month till there was a full board. Because I am concerned about the establishments along Squire Road, along Broadway, and they do bring in these same events. They're always running fundraisers and done. But unfortunately, I'm in a tough position today because of there being just a two-board member, you know. So I'll give the floor again to my colleague.
And I definitely understand, you know, there's the whole competitive environment when you have, you know, when you have these type of events versus, you know, some of the other establishments. My guess is a lot of people that come to these aren't living in about this area. They're coming from the outside. And I don't know, there's a lot of establishments around that area that, I mean, there's liquor stores, obviously.
The Squire.
The Squire, I don't think it's the same client. I don't know. You know, I'm not too worried
Well, a
about.
lot of them do go in there.
Yeah, I'm not too concerned
they have
about the
bicycles.
Squire's business being helped or hurt in this. That's not really a concern, in my opinion. But I just think they're good events. They're clean. I know there's children's event and there is some alcohol, but I just think that you know, there's not a heck of a lot to do in Revere at times, especially in the west side of the city. In the east side, there's stuff, but in the west side, there isn't much to do. And this seems to kind of, you know, they're kind of blazing the road a little bit with some events that normally I wouldn't, you know, that allow people in the area to attend. So I think having some entertainment in this side of the city is not and I don't think it's really hurting the establishments around, unless you've heard differently. But that's just my opinion.
Well, I also need a count. There was a limit on one-day licenses.
Correct, I understand that.
30 days, there's only 31-day licenses. And just because there's 30 days, it doesn't mean we have to stretch it to 30 days, one-day licenses every year. And speaking again in Boston, most cities and towns they never give out 30 days. They can, but most of them find they don't because we do have to protect other businesses. And I think at Christmas time, I have to disagree with my colleague. I think there's a lot going on in our city. There's a lot of events at a lot of the clubs in the city. And like I say, I just think 10 events is an awful lot to apply for at one time. And I know, again, I feel bad, there's only 2 board members here. I know you have to plan this, you've got to set people up, although Santa Claus, we just have to get Santa in there. So I just really torn between this, and again, it's children with beer, with parents to go see Santa Claus. I don't know. I mean, we can go to a mall with Santa Claus without beer. So I'm probably going to have to, I certainly would not take my grandchildren to have a couple of drinks to see Santa Claus. That's me. But, okay, so I am going to make a motion at this time that I'm going to make a motion to approve the October dates of 18 and the 27th. Our next scheduled meeting is not until October 17th. So I'm going to make a motion to approve October 18th and the 27th, and to hold the other ones, to continue the other dates over to our next scheduled meeting.
That sounds fair.
I think my colleague makes an excellent point, and now that there's only 2 of us here, and based on, you know, even though I'm in favor of all, and I do get some of the ones close to the Christmas, like the Last Chance Holiday one. But I'm gonna second her motion and approve the 18th and 27th, and then we'll, if you want to come back and apply for the others when all three of us are here, then you're welcome to do that. So I will approve my colleague's motion.
So then you've been approved for October 18th, the 27th. You'll be on next month's October 17th calendar to be heard for the other dates. And I will second that motion. Okay, all in favor, all opposed? So ordered. Good luck, we'll see you next month.
Thank you.
Item number 5, Hook and Reel, Inc. This is an application for change of hours and change of manager.
Good afternoon, Kristen Scanlon for the licensee. With me today is Lee Lin, who's the owner, and Ying-Jun Yang, who's the proposed new manager of record. The two items before you, first is just a minor change to the opening hours, Sunday through Thursday, to accommodate their increasing demand for the lunch hour. Right now, they don't open Sunday through Thursday until 3 p.m., and are just looking to open at noon to accommodate the lunch hour. All closing hours and every other hour, Friday and Saturday, will remain the same. Secondly, the second request is for the change of manager of record from Lee to Ying, who has been with the licensed establishment shortly after it opened, and also has substantial restaurant industry experience for the last decade or so, working with Mr. Lin and several of his other restaurants out of state, but now has made Revere his home, lives here as a United States resident as well, or citizen as well, Massachusetts resident, Revere resident, and is on the premises about 50 hours a week.
Okay, that was one of my questions. He will be on the premises about 50
Yes.
hours a week?
Yes.
Okay, and has he been there since the business has opened, or he's been elsewhere?
He's been
At
there
another
since the business
business?
is opened.
Oh, you have been there since, because I've gone there, I haven't seen you there, but I've gone there, very nice. And will you be staying on also, or?
Me, I'm gonna stay sometimes. That's why I wanna put him on the record, just in case while I'm not there.
Okay. All right, and as far as the hours, that's just a lunch hour change? Yep, I have no other questions. My colleague have any questions?
Now, this is the one, where is this?
This is a Wonderland.
Oh, it's the Wonderland one.
Wonderland.
Okay. How's business? I'm sorry. How's business?
It was good, and right now when the school opens, it was slowing down a little bit, but right now we're trying to create a lunch menu.
Okay.
A lunch crowd. So I think everything is pretty good so far.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward from my perspective. We're opening a little bit early to get the lunch crowd. I'm surprised you weren't open that early to begin with, but maybe had to flush out some operational things. So I don't have any issues with that, and change of manager. And that's going to be you?
Yes.
Okay, you're not going to do 50 hours a week over there?
Yes.
That's more like 60.
I don't
You should. You'll be like the restaurant business, you don't sleep. But, yeah, so I, wish you the best of luck. I'll leave it at that. And see if my colleague wants to make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck. Okay, moving on, item number 6, we've already heard, and that has been continued till our next meeting, which is Kenneth G. LaFosse, Brothers Auto Body, and that's continued to our October 17th meeting. Under communications, communication from the Massachusetts Alcohol Beverage Control Commission announcing changes to application forms, requirements, and website. If there's no other business, I would take a motion to adjourn till our October 17th meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second the motion.